And thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 5. I'm Mark Hall. Well, today is the first day of fall, and meteorologist Damon Matson joins us with a check on the forecast. Damon, could we be seeing temperatures below 50?
Oh, Mark, we're getting there ever so slowly. Yeah, fall is rolling in behind a cold front here today, and we're seeing those changes in live time out there right now. Check it out. First off, of all the temperatures. Now, we haven't really seen much of a dip in temperatures across the area here just yet, as we're still in the 70s, and yes, even some warmer air still down toward southern Virginia, but that cooler air is on the way. Look at this, 50s, 60s, just back off to our north and west across Pennsylvania and New York. And once that sun goes down here today, we'll really start to see a change in those temperatures. Now, as far as it goes with dew points, that's where you really can see where that cold front is located. Very dry, 40 and 50 degree dew points are in our area now, with most of that muggier air confined to the south and east. And there is that cold front. It's already pushing its way off of the east coast, taking any rainfall that it produced across the area along with it. And in its wake, very dry conditions are expected here, with things clearing out as well as we move forward with time. So the rest of your evening, we'll see a good mix of sunshine and cloud cover, with more of that sky clearing out once the sun goes down, and temperatures are now going to steadily drop off at a pretty rapid rate. We're going to fall right out of the 70s straight through the 60s. And oh yes, we are talking about lows likely in the 40s by the time we get into the overnight hours into your Friday morning. That is jacket-like weather right there. You have to dust off that old jacket, bring it back out. Now, on top of that, we not only have dropping temperatures, but it is quite windy out there. And we're going to have a check on just how long these breezy conditions are set to stick around, as well as when we could see a little bit of a warm-up coming back into the forecast. We'll have all of that and more coming up in your full forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Happening now, the Loudoun County School Board is set to discuss a new policy on sexually explicit content. Policy 5055 will require the county and its teachers to notify parents before the content is presented in the classroom. And that's where we find DC News Now's Northern Virginia reporter Max Marcilla. And Max, this has certainly been a contentious issue in the past, and it's certainly been a challenge to find common ground.
Yeah, well, some of that contention really picked up last year during the gubernatorial election. Of course, parental rights was one of the key issues now Governor Glenn Youngkin campaigned on. And as soon as he was elected and named Virginia's governor, he made sure that this policy was one of the first things he touted and he got through the General Assembly and signed once he was in office. Now, as for the policy here in Loudoun County, we were able to read a draft of the policy that they're going to review tonight. And basically what it says is that parents will be notified anytime there is a material, meaning a book or a movie that could be shown in a classroom. Parents will be notified anytime that could include sexually explicit content. Parents will have to be told within at least 30 days before the material will be taught in the classroom, and then parents can review it. And if they decide they don't want their children learning that or reading that, they can request alternate materials to be taught. Now, Loudoun County doesn't know exactly what books or materials might be included, but they said it could include things like The Kite Runner, Beloved, Handmaid's Tale, and 1984, just to name a few. Now, there has been some criticism about this policy, especially from the LGBTQ community, because Virginia Code and Loudoun's draft policy say one definition of sexual conduct is homosexuality. So we still have a lot to learn about this policy, a lot to be discussed tonight. The meeting gets started in just under a half hour, and it starts with a public comment session, so parents and potentially even students can come out and voice their opinion on this policy before it goes into effect by the end of the year. Reporting live from Loudoun County, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
Max, thank you. Well, it's been almost a year since Metro took hundreds of 7000 series train cars off the tracks after a derailment. Now, they're slowly being put back into service. And today, Metro's board met to discuss a wide range of issues plaguing the system and to find ways to improve safety and reliability. DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg was at the meeting, and Daniel, Metro says that those cars are now safe to ride.
Metro's general manager tells me that they're taking constant measurements of the wheels on those 7000 series cars, and so far they haven't found any issues. Still, some riders are skeptical. There's still no answer to what the root cause is of the derailment of a Blue Line 7000 series train last year. But Metro is stepping up its safety checks to make sure train wheels don't move too far apart.
We have a lot of data that I think it's 53,000 measurements that we have not had one wheel that has shown out of conformance.
This week, concerns were raised when a 2015 report by a Metro consultant was uncovered by the Washington Metro Rail Safety Commission. It details that Metro Rail knew of a series of issues dealing with Metro tracks that could cause wheels to move out of alignment. GM Randy Clark says they weren't hiding anything.
We gave the documents. We are following the NTSB rules around investigation, and anything the NTSB says we can push along, we are doing that.
More 7000 series cars are being put back into service even without a root cause.
There's no chance I would ever be in this position and knowingly run service that I do not believe is safe.
Some riders are still iffy about the situation.
I don't know if to believe them or not. They haven't been that forthcoming in the past.
I'm new to DC, so far I'm having a great time, and I haven't had any problems. I feel very safe.
And as safety goes, Clark says there will be a bigger police presence in the system, with officers getting on and off trains and buses. Metro still needs to find a way to close a $184.7 million budget gap. Fare evasion is a big problem, so they'll be piloting solutions to add on to the current gates.
Different styles, whether they're the actual leafs themselves or kind of on the stanchions in the middle, maybe ways to not allow people to kind of slide across them as easy. But again, the whole idea is we're not into this over-policing.
Now, Clark says that the Silver Line extension project is slated to open this fall after simulated service begins on October 3rd. But if there are not more cars that are put back into circulation, that could be delayed. Phase 2 of the project could be delayed after those 6 stations on the yellow and blue lines open in late October. We're live in Southwest Washington. Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
All right, Daniel, thank you. DC Metro Police are investigating a fatal shooting which occurred on the 3000 block of Adams Street in Northeast DC. And detectives are still searching for the suspect, who they describe as a man wearing a black and blue hoodie with yellow writing while driving a Chevy Impala. Well, new tonight, a Montgomery County man who was found guilty of murdering a man back in 2020 was sentenced in circuit court. DC News Now's Katie Ree is live with us. And Katie, you were there when the sentence was announced.
Yeah, that's right. Good evening, Mark. Now, it was a very emotional day in circuit court here in Montgomery County. Now, Justin Wilson was sentenced to life in prison with all but 40 years suspended, but the state's attorney's office, they fought for life without parole. Now, after hearing testimonies from Ienzi's siblings, as well as 2 of his children, 28-year-old Justin Wilson was sentenced to life in prison with all but 40 years suspended, meaning that the maximum time he'll face is 40 years in jail. Now, in July of 2020, Wilson admitted to stabbing 63-year-old Egidio Ienzi in his Germantown home and the reports say that Wilson stabbed Ienzi 13 times and then fled the home. Now, because Wilson has asthma, he was released from jail under compassionate release, which was implemented due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But his children and his siblings say justice was not served today.
And it's completely divided my family, not just the ones you see here, but the family on my dad's side of the family as well. And to think that it all comes down to the fact that he should have still been locked up.
It was one of the worst days of our lives. Again, we just had to relive not getting justice for our father. Again, we just had to relive watching the man who murdered our father basically walk free. He had 7 years under his belt when he was in jail, and because he got a compassionate release and got out and came and murdered our father cold blood, and he's getting away with it again.
Now, once Wilson has served his sentence, he will be under supervised probation, but Egidio Ienzi's family says that's not enough. For now, reporting live outside of Montgomery County Circuit Court, Katie Ree, DC News Now.
Katie, thank you. Fighting inflation, a House oversight hearing is examining whether businesses are taking advantage of consumers by hiking prices purely to increase profits. DC News Now's anchor Chris Flanagan joins us with more. Chris.
Mark, good afternoon. This hearing comes just one day after the Fed laid out plans to continue aggressive interest rate hikes. So many of the experts who testified before the Congressional Committee agree that big corporations are artificially inflating prices. That, of course, forces consumers to pay record high prices while those corporations make record high profits. Democrats say large corporations are exploiting pandemic-related supply chain issues to raise the prices consumers are paying. An economist tracking corporate profits through the pandemic says during that time, corporations saw the highest quarterly profit margins in more than 70 years.
Big companies like Procter & Gamble know that they can take advantage of consumers' basic needs because they make necessities like diapers and laundry supplies.
Republicans say President Biden's pandemic stimulus package drove prices even higher. Of course, we'll continue to follow this developing story and have much more on DC News Now at 6 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan, DC News Now.
Chris Flanagan, thank you. And community leaders came together to celebrate a new affordable housing complex in Prince George's County. Gateway and at Peerless will provide 62 homes to families of diverse economic backgrounds who are in need of housing. It's located on Route 301 in Upper Marlboro. The development was a partnership with Episcopal Housing Corporation and Conifer Realty. 75% of the homes will serve families with incomes at or below 60%. And in Arlington County, Virginia, the county board will allow the public to comment on a proposed ranked choice voting method for the 2023 County Board June primary election. A ranked choice voting, or RCV method, allows voters to rank candidates in order of preference. It will be optional, not required, to the public. An online public comment form is available now until November 4th, 2022 on the county's website. Well, new tonight, the National Park Service conducted its annual levee test and installation in the district. It happened on 17th Street in Southeast D.C., and workers tested to make sure that the levee can fit properly. The levee is designed to prevent water from the Potomac River reaching parts of the downtown areas. 17th Street is known to flood.
So once a year, we put the levee together, make sure the staff remembers how to do it, train new staff on the operation, so when and if we're ever called to do it in a real-world situation, we know what we're doing.
Just so how important is the levee? It protects 40,000 residents and $14 billion worth of infrastructure. Well, a mulch pile spontaneously combusted in Loudoun County, causing a massive fire. It happened in a barn, and the mulch, again, just spontaneously combust. Fire and rescue crews were called to the Lincoln Road in Purcellville, where they found the large barn on fire. The fire marshal's office investigation determined the fire was accidental, and the cause of it resulted from mulch and potting soil from a flower box bursting into flames. No one was displaced, and no injuries were reported to people or animals. The barn had over $500,000 in damage.